The undead, out for blood, or hungry for brains. There are worse nightmares come to terrifying life.
Monsters represent everything that can get us and everything we're afraid of.
We're about to open the crypt and tell the secret tale behind our darkest fears and why they walk among us. From Dracula's shadowy origins.
Dracula comes at a time when the Victorian era is ending and women are becoming more sexually liberated.
To the American unrest that unleashed a zombie invasion.
It was flesh-eating, it was viral, and it was global.
They can be objects of horror.
Someone who you look at and know, all right, he's evil, guys should not sleep here in Castle Dracula.
Or reflections of our deepest desires.
Vampires represent the dark side, the sexy side, the unknown.
This is Love, Lust, and the Undead. Today, the undead dominate popular culture. Consider the tale of Bella and Edward,
Yes, it's that classic thing that girls go for the bad boy.
Everything that makes young women attracted to James Dean, Billy Idol, Elvis, punk rock, all that stuff is all mixed in with the attraction to the vampire.
The women.
Vampires come out of nowhere, they kind of captivate you and romance you. That's, pretty hot.
They represent danger. Some beautiful, some ugly, but in a very interesting way.
When you turn on the news, it's what everybody is dealing with. How to live with the other guy who looks at things differently than you do, comes from a different place, has a different religion, a different sexual orientation.
It's an age of tolerance, and in 2001, the ultimate other decides to come out of the coffin and live openly in American society, with some help from author Charlaine Harris. In her hit novel Dead Until Dark, she creates a revolutionary new universe in which Dracula is just the guy next door.
I thought, wouldn't it be funny if you had a vampire named Bill and he shopped at the mall? I thought of the phrase, they're coming out of the coffin, and then I thought, that's not a bad analogy for many things that are happening in America now.
This metaphor that the vampire coming out of the coffin represents a marginalized society that had been wronged or not allowed full rights.
It's very clever.
But for vampires to live openly in society, they need to show they won't attack humans anymore. So Harris invents True Blood.
I had read articles about synthetic blood before, and it seemed to me that that would be the perfect answer. If they had another food source, then they would not need to bite you. Therefore, they could say, hey, we're not threatening. No, not a bit.
A series of best-selling novels follows. And in 2008, Harris's vision of America with vampires becomes the smash series True Blood. For the first time, TV viewers are confronted with a ghastly question.
Is it possible to have a vampire as a neighbor?
Vampires have become regular people. I mean, you might go down to the post office and there's Billy Bob the vampire.
So then the next question is, well, what do we do about that? Do we kick them out? Do we kill them? Do we accept them and marry them? Can we have children with them? What happens to the next generation?
The vampires on True Blood are feared because they're unexplained and they're unknown in much the same way that the gay culture is still an unknown to so much of America. Just in that credit sequence where there's that quick cut to the neon sign that says, God hates fangs.
America is a country that likes to think that it wants to embrace the entire world. We like to think that we're a melting pot and that everybody is welcome here. But the truth is that everybody isn't welcome here. And to me, that's something that is really seen in the vampire, because we can't decide whether we want him to be close to us or whether bringing him close to us will completely undo us.
We love vampires. They have such freedom. They're completely outside the constraints of society. They can be gay, straight, bisexual, and they just don't have any fears.
The Living Dead is sort of a metaphor of the horrors of Vietnam that we were all seeing on TV at the time, but also really about race and civil rights in this country.
Romero's most controversial move is hiring the best actors he could find, regardless of their race.
The hero of the film is an African American. At the time, that was a really revolutionary idea.
I think people must have been shocked. At that time, we weren't considered as good as white actors. So for him to have done that back then, shit, can I say that?
There's something about vampires that's about desire and sex. There's something beastly and manly and gentlemanly. In a lot of ways, it is that archaic woman's fantasy about a man.
Interview with a Vampire. It was a groundbreaking vampire story because it brought the monster into the me decade.
Nobody had ever seen anything like Interview with a Vampire. The vampire is talking to a reporter and relating his life. And that was just such an original thought.
When Bram Stoker's Dracula,
Your family, they pass away. You're left there, lonely, going on and on and on. That is a rather sorrowful place, if you have any regrets, to think that you'll be here forever, working through those regrets.
As humans who
TV and in movies.
The Buffy series paved the way for strong heroines.
Without Buffy, we wouldn't have.
In our generation, we thirst for youth and to live forever. And maybe that's what the Undead represent for us, foreverness and youth.